Hello, you're watching TVP World News. I'm Jonasz Rewicki. EU foreign ministers have gathered in Luxembourg for a meeting to discuss pressing issues facing the bloc, including the war in Ukraine. The gathering will be chaired by Kaja Kallas, the EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy. The Russian war of aggression against Ukraine will be at the top of the agenda of the Foreign Affairs Council in Luxembourg on Wednesday, with Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha joining online. The officials will also discuss tensions between Armenia and Azerbaijan, as well as the latest developments in the Middle East, including the situation in Syria. The ministers will also touch on the subject of EU-Africa relations, as well as relations with the bloc's Western Balkans partners. In a recent interview with CBS News, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy extended an invitation to US President Donald Trump to visit Ukraine, saying he would welcome him with pleasure. Zelenskyy emphasized the importance of witnessing the devastation of the war firsthand before making any crucial decisions about Ukraine's future.
We want you to come and, I think, to come and to see. You think you understand what's going on here. Okay. We respect your position, you understand. But please, before any kind of decisions, any kind of formats of negotiations, come to see people, civilians, warriors, hospitals, churches, children, destroyed or dead. Come, look, and then let's move with a plan how to finish the war. You will understand with whom you have a deal. You will understand what Putin did, and we will not prepare anything. It will not be theater with preparing actors in the streets and etc. We don't do this. We don't need it. You can go exactly where you want in any city which has been under attacks. What I said to them, just to come and to understand.
At least 34 people were killed in a Russian missile strike on the Ukrainian city of Sumy on Sunday. 2 ballistic missiles hit the heart of the city as crowds gathered for Palm Sunday celebrations. Another 117 people were injured, including 15 children.
At least 34 people have been killed and 117 injured in a Russian missile attack on the Ukrainian city of Sumy. Sumy in the northern part of Ukraine was targeted by 2 Russian ballistic missiles. President Zelenskyy condemned the atrocity, saying only scoundrels act like this, taking the lives of ordinary people. Now, it's important to note this attack came only 2 days after Steve Witkoff, the US envoy for the Middle East, who's been leading negotiations with Russia, met Vladimir Putin in Moscow. And President Zelenskyy has reiterated his message to Washington that more pressure needs to be applied on Russia in light of attacks like this, which are repeatedly striking Ukrainian cities and killing Ukrainian civilians. With Zelenskyy saying, without pressure on the aggressor, peace is impossible. Talks have never stopped ballistic missiles and aerial bombs. It's Oz Kataji reporting from Kyiv for TVP World.
Now, Russia launched a massive strike on the northeastern Ukrainian city of Sumy on Palm Sunday, killing 34 people and wounding 117 others in what has become the deadliest attack on Ukraine this year. Speaking to reporters aboard the Air Force One later that same day, US President Donald Trump called the strike, and I quote, a mistake. When asked to clarify whether he believed the attack was unintentional, Trump repeated that it was a mistake, without clarifying who had briefed him on the incident.
I think it was terrible, and I was told they made a mistake, but I think it's a horrible thing. I think the whole war is a horrible thing. I think the war is, for that war to have started, is an abuse of power. This country would have never allowed that war to have started if I were president.
You were told they made a mistake. Do you mean it was unintentional?
They made a mistake. I believe it was. Look, you're going to ask them. This is Biden's war. This is not my war.
The US Special Envoy for Ukraine, General Kaja Kallas, has condemned the Russian missile strike on Sumy that took place Sunday morning. The latest reports indicate at least 34 people were killed. As we already indicated, let's take a look at what General Kallas had to say.
Today's Palm Sunday attack by Russian forces on civilian targets in Sumy crosses any line of decency. There are scores of civilians dead and wounded. As a former military leader, I understand targeting, and this is wrong. This is why President Trump is working hard to end this war.
In Ukraine's southeastern Zaporizhia region, a Russian drone attack ignited a fire at a petrol station, but the flames were quickly extinguished with no injuries reported, according to regional governor Ivan Fedorov. The attack comes despite a ceasefire agreement reached in March, in which both Russia and Ukraine agreed to refrain from targeting each other's energy infrastructure. However, both sides have since accused the other of violating these agreements. Meanwhile, late on the 13th of April, a Russian drone strike on the city of Odessa injured at least 5 people and started fires that damaged civilian infrastructure, including a major roadway, a car repair shop and several vehicles. A nearby medical facility also sustained significant damage, though no patients were wounded. This attack comes amid ongoing US efforts to mediate a ceasefire as Moscow continues its assault despite previous agreements. Now, speaking at a commemoration of the 1940 Katyń massacre, where 22,000 Polish prisoners of war, priests and scientists were murdered by the Soviet secret police, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk warned that the same kind of evil still exists today. He cited the Russian missile attack on Sumy earlier that morning as a stark example.
Tamto zło zostało pokonane.
The evil was defeated back then. Today, we are living the dream of those who perished in the East, a free, sovereign and independent homeland. But the evil that was the source of the crime is still among us. Palm Sunday, just after Mass ended in Sumy, 2 Russian missiles struck, hitting people who were praying, attending the service, women, children and men, just a few hours ago. The bodies now lie in the city streets. Those died on a day so deeply symbolic, a tragedy so less painful, even if we cannot compare victims. This is not about numbers, it is about the same tragedy caused by the same evil.
New footage from surveillance cameras on the Polish-Belarusian border shows a group of migrants attempting to launch an attack on Polish border officers. What's even more alarming, among them was a uniformed member of Belarusian forces directly participating in the assault.
In the early hours of Sunday, Jacek Dobrzyński, the spokesperson for the Polish Ministry of Internal Affairs and Administration, published the following clip from the Polish-Belarusian border.
The border near Mielnik, several dozen people are trying to overcome the security measures in an attempt to illegally enter Poland. Among the aggressors, the camera captures a uniformed Belarusian officer who also attacks our officers with stones.
This group was very aggressive. Lately, we've been noticing that, unfortunately, every attempt to cross our border illegally ends in aggression. During this incident, stones and tree branches were thrown at Polish officers, and our service vehicle was damaged.
But this time, it wasn't only asylum seekers at the border.
The clip posted by Jacek Dobrzyński, in which a group of aggressors, together with a Belarusian officer, are attempting to break into Poland, should open the eyes of all those who trivialize this threat and baselessly attack the defenders of Polish borders.
We are talking about hybrid warfare led by Belarusian services supported by Russia against Poland and other Eastern NATO flank countries. And we are talking about instrumentalization of migration.
The Podlaskie unit of the Border Guard has recorded more than 3,000 attempts of illegal crossings from Belarus to Poland since the start of 2025.
Polish border guards managed to lower the successfully attempts of illegally crossing our border by 98%, which is a significant success.
Since August 2021, Poland has responded to the rising number of attempted illegal border crossings from Belarus by constructing a 186-kilometer fence equipped with an electronic surveillance system, significantly reducing illegal crossings.
We're mobilizing Europe to treat this border as a shared responsibility. This is one of the largest operations in Polish history after 1989.
The European Commission allocated 52 million euros to Warsaw in December 2024 to tighten border protection against hybrid threats from Belarus and Russia.
It's a constant effort of Polish border guard and Polish army who are stopping these attempts.
Reporting for TVP World, I'm Aisha Baja.
Hungary's main opposition party, TISA, rallied thousands in Budapest on Sunday. Protesters gathered to voice their opposition to Prime Minister Viktor Orban's government. While TISA avoided directly mentioning the newly introduced law banning LGBTQ+ marches, many demonstrators turned up specifically to oppose the legislation. The controversial law also includes provisions allowing the government to use facial recognition technology to identify participants in what it calls illegal marches. Critics say it's a direct attack on basic civil liberties. Ahead of the rally, TISA sent out a questionnaire to Hungarians on several political issues, including the country's membership in the European Union and NATO. Observers say the move echoes the Orban government's tactic of using referendums to justify controversial policies.
The TISA party will bring home the EU funds that have been blocked due to government corruption. By doing so, we will create the basis for the economic and social recovery of society. Unlocking the EU funds alone could boost the economy by at least 1%, which would yield an additional $2.2 billion to the Hungarian budget.
Speaking to TVP World, Bogdan Guralczyk, former Polish ambassador, stated that Hungary's main opposition leader Péter Magyar would shift the country towards Brussels and away from Russia.
Definitely, Péter Magyar will not cooperate with Russia. He went to Ukraine. He was even in Bucha, the place of the massacre, which Viktor Orban will never come to his mind to go there.
Bulgaria has received its first delivery of F-16 Block 70 fighter jets, kicking off a broader rearmament plan aimed at modernizing its air force to NATO standards. Under two intergovernmental deals, Bulgaria is set to receive 16 American-made fighters. Until now, it was the last NATO country relying on aging MiG-29s. This modernization is expected to boost European peacemaking efforts and strengthen military ties along NATO's eastern flank and in the Black Sea region. Mario Vargas Llosa, the Peruvian Spanish Nobel Prize-winning author, has died at the age of 89. He was one of the key figures responsible for a global boom in Latin American literature. Over a career that spanned more than 50 years, Mario Vargas Llosa enchanted readers with his intellectual rigor and lyrical prose. With more than 50 works to his name, the author will be best remembered for novels such as The Time of the Hero, Conversation in the Cathedral, and The Feast of the Goat, which dealt with the topic of power and corruption. During his life, Vargas also launched a failed bid for the Peruvian presidency and triumphed as a Nobel laureate in 2010. In a statement on Sunday, the novelist's 3 children said that his departure will sadden his relatives, his friends, and his readers all around the world. And with this, we conclude our news bulletin. Please stay with us here on TVP World for more latest news and updates.